Thank you very much, and welcome to the AGM. So this is tonight's agenda. We've got a packed agenda because it's been an incredibly busy year in 2025, so we're going to try and go through as quickly as possible. So I would ask people to keep their questions as focused as possible and directly related to the presentation. There will be a group discussion session towards the end of the meeting, and that will be sort of held by a committee member in each group who will be taking notes. So if you've got any more detailed questions, then that'd be a good forum for you to bring those forward. And without further ado, I think I'll pass over to Ellie for her chair's report.
For all the new members, my name is Ellie Harrison, and I am one of the co-founders of Glasgow Moving back in 2016, and this very grainy photo was taken in this very building, in the chapel next door, on the 15th of September 2016, when we launched the campaign. And I want to show this here today because obviously this is going to be our 10th anniversary year this year. And we'll be talking about ideas for that in our group discussion. So I was also involved in constituting the campaign in 2019, which is when we became a membership organisation and held our first annual general meeting. And I've served on the committee ever since then. So the aim of Get Glasgow Moving ever since the beginning has been to campaign for integrated public transport. And what we aimed to do was to bring together campaigners, bus, rail, subway and active travel campaigners to fight for a system where all of these modes of transport are controlled by one public body. In our case that would be our Transport Authority, SPT, and they are planned and coordinated in the public interest to ensure that all communities in our region have got access to sustainable transport connections and can get around easily without needing to own a car. So the system that we want to see is pretty much the norm in most European city regions and in London. And the key reason why we don't have that in Glasgow and other parts of the UK is because of this insane policy of bus deregulation, which was implemented in 1986, which took control of the bus network away from SPT and handed it over to private companies. So bus deregulation will also be celebrating, or maybe not, will be marking, commiserating the 40th anniversary of bus deregulation later this year. So as a campaign group, we've always used a really wide range of tactics, a lot of social media awareness campaigns, online actions and petitions, protests, rallies, action days, stalls and leafleting, public meetings and events. We even did a roller skating bus regulation musical in 2022. We commissioned a report from Centre for Cities. That's all the public-facing stuff. But alongside that, to remember to flip through my slides, we do a hell of a lot of lobbying behind the scenes, meeting politicians. So you won't be able to read the detail of this, and we will be sending the slides around after the meeting, but I've colour-coded the parties on here just to show that we try to work with all political parties, to meet with all political parties to get them behind our cause for delivering better public transport. And it's part of our constitution that it states that we must remain a completely autonomous passenger-led group that isn't affiliated with any particular political party. So we're very strict on that. I have one photo from the meeting that we managed to secure with the Transport Minister in May last year, after I think asking 3 times, including live on BBC Radio Scotland, at which point he finally succumbed and offered us a meeting. So to kick off the review of 2025, I've just sort of broken it down into different kind of activities and campaigns that we have been running. and I'm going to show you a hell of a lot of photos, and Paul's going to talk you through some of it as well. But it loosely breaks down to February is always dominated by our AGM, because it says in our constitution that that's when it needs to happen. Straight after that, we got stuck into the Better Buses campaign targeting SPT at a regional level. Then we moved over to our national campaigning at the Parliament, and then from September we launched our Holyrood campaign. I'm going to tell in a lot more detail about all of this stuff. We got involved in a local campaign with Living Rent. I don't know if there's anyone from Living Rent here today. You're most welcome. Paul's going to tell you more about that. And finally in December we launched our Clyde Metro map video, which many of you may have seen. If not, we're going to show it again. So, AGM last year, I just wanted to show this lovely photo op. We will be encouraging as many people tonight to take part in another photo. I wanted to flag out a few key changes to our committee that happened at last year's AGM. And first of all, was Paul and Susie being formally elected. We co-opted them at the end of 2024, and they immediately proved themselves as being very passionate public transport enthusiasts with lots of skills. So we decided to bring them in as office bearers, Paul as a campaigns officer, and Susie initially as the membership officer, although many of you remember Katie Thompson, who was our brilliant secretary, who had to stand down last May because of work pressures. So Susie transitioned into the secretary role. We were also joined by Jack, who's here, who has encyclopedic knowledge of Glasgow and its railway system, and was instrumental in helping to put together the Clyde Metro map, which we'll be talking about later. And also in this photo, you'll see at the front Andrew and Radine, who are also, give us a wave, served on the committee since 2022, I think, and are standing down this year's AGM. So we can give them a little round of applause now, or later. So, better get on with all the other photos. As I said, we began with Better Buses for Strathclyde, which is the region-wide campaign that we helped to launch in 2023. Correct page of my notes will help me. And this campaign is bigger than just Glasgow. It's across the 12 local authorities in the SPT area. And it's a coalition of lots of different organisations, trade unions, environmental campaigns, anti-poverty campaigns, pensioners groups, students groups, health campaigns, you name it. We've got 50 organisations backing this campaign. And we now have nearly 13,000 people that have signed the petition. If you are not one of them, please make sure you add your signature to this. So the key aim of this campaign is to undo the damage caused by bus deregulation in 1986 by getting our Transport Authority, SPT, to use the new powers in the Transport Act, the franchising powers, to bring the bus network back into public control, because bus franchising is the missing link to delivering an integrated public transport system. So we made a lot of progress in the first 2 years of the Better Buses for Strathclyde campaign. And in 2024, SPT announced that they were going to progress with looking at bus franchising powers. And then they went away to draft the Strathclyde Regional Bus Strategy. So at this point, at the beginning of 2025, we were waiting for the publication of the draft, which was due on the 21st of February last year. So we went back to SPT's offices, and this was our 6th rally outside their offices within a 1.5 year period, with us putting pressure on them. And this is the day that they published the draft Strathclyde Regional Bus Strategy, and we began mobilising people to respond to the consultation. And Paul's going to tell you a bit about what we did over the next few months.
Hi everyone. As Ellie said, I'm Paul. I'm the campaigns officer for Get Glasgow Moving, and yes, I'm going to talk about what we did during the consultation period and some of the other campaigns that we've done for this year. So, as Ellie mentioned, SPT launched their Strathclyde Regional Bus Strategy, and they launched their draft in March and then did a consultation period between March and May. And in that regional bus strategy, they identified all the barriers to bus use, and this is quite useful because they sort of have identified the problems that we all face when we are using public transport, using the bus in Glasgow. And generally, we were quite pleased with the regional bus strategy. We were quite, we were happy with what they were proposing to do. It was quite ambitious. We were quite happy with it, but they did know they added some jeopardy in about funding streams that are going to be necessary for making sure that they get everything in the regional bus strategy delivered. So during the consultation period, we had a series of public meetings across Strathclyde. We initially planned 5 meetings. We had the first one in March in Motherwell, in conjunction with the North Lanarkshire Trades Council. Then we had the second one in Erskine in conjunction with the local councillor. Then we had the third one in Irvine with North Ayrshire and Irvine Trades Council, Clydebank with Clydebank Trades Council as a running theme. And then we added some extra meetings as well due to popular demand, which were organised with Glasgow Eco Trust, the two in Whiteinch and Kingsway with Glasgow Eco Trust, and then another one in Coatbridge with Kirkwood Tenants and Residents Association. Then, during the consultation period, there was also the Parents for Future Air Pollution Day at Glasgow City Chambers, so we attended that, and we were encouraging people at that to fill in the consultation. The May Day rally, organised by Glasgow Trades Council, was also during the consultation period, so we were on that march as well. And then we had our final public meeting of the period at the STUC in Bridgeton, organised in conjunction with the STUC, and we had a great turnout at that one. And we were encouraging people to fill in, support SPT's franchising plans, support these 7 themes that they'd identified as a way of addressing the problems with the buses in the Strathclyde region. And we managed to get, there were 4,012 respondents. I'm not going to claim credit for all of them. But it was 1,000 more respondents to the consultation that SPT had last year. So we can take credit for some of it, I think, definitely. That without us going and doing all those public meetings, I'm not sure that we would have got quite as many. But also, we got the biggest thing from it was that we got 83% support. I think that might even be 83% strongly support bus franchising. But either way, we got a great response. And then we organised a rally outside SPT. That was our 7th rally outside SPT in 2 years to celebrate this as they published the final regional bus strategy. And this is us outside SPT.
Yeah, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about our national campaigning, which we've been doing in parallel with the campaigning aimed at SPT. And it really began in summer 2024 when we launched a separate petition, a Scottish Parliament petition, to their petitions committee, which is asking the Scottish Parliament to help us speed up the process of delivering bus franchising, because it is, with the current legislation and lack of support, general support from the Scottish Government, going to be an uphill battle. We wanted to, as well as pushing SPT in that direction, draw attention to how far behind we are in Scotland from the big city regions in England that are pursuing bus franchising. So Susie and I worked on this graphic, The Long Road to Bus Franchising, which compares SPT's very slow progress with the 5 city regions in England that are furthest ahead. There's a lot of detail in that. There are 2 printouts over there, and it's on our website if you'd like to look at it in more detail. At the Parliament, we have quite a lot of key MSP allies. One is stood at the back, Paul Sweeney, thank you for coming. But from all different political parties. Patrick Harvey, MSP for Glasgow, one of the MSPs for Glasgow is in the middle there, at the end of June called a members' debate on the future of Glasgow's bus services, which was a really great opportunity for us. And we had MSPs from all, from Labour, SNP, Green and Conservative all speak at this debate, which lasted over an hour. We obviously all went along. Oh, and I've got a little clip, which I will just play.
And I want to join colleagues in paying tribute to Get Glasgow Moving for the Better Buses for Strathclyde campaign, which is supported by more than 12,000 people across the region and counting. And to thank Ellie Harrison and all the volunteer campaigns, because they do this in their own time, and I'm sure at times it is very stressful and tiring, but that lived experience is so valuable.
Thank you, Monica. It was very nice to get a name check in the Parliament. We were very pleased, and we were all in the balcony. So that was just before the summer recess. At the end of the summer recess in September, we were back at the Parliament for the second hearing of our petition. Here's Paul Sweeney, who spoke in support of our petition, so did Patrick Harvey. It was, I won't dwell on it too much, but it was a very disappointing day, and the Petitions Committee had basically decided in advance that they needed to close our petition because they had too many petitions to deal with before the end of this Parliament in March. So it felt like a massive waste of time, but we did produce a huge amount of evidence through that, which is still up on the Parliament website. And we were ready to go with the next campaign, which is bigger and better and more accessible, we hope. So over the course of the summer, we have been, from June onwards, we've been working with a local animator called Suze Riley, who we worked with in 2021-2022 for those elections, to make an animation which would try to explain in as simple terms as possible the problems with the bus franchising legislation and make the case to MSPs now and to the new future Scottish Government to bring through new legislation to simplify. So we previewed the animation at this event. I don't know if many people here were at this. This was part of the Doors Open Day Festival in September at Glasgow University. We previewed the animation. We had a little panel discussion with Bailey Christie Mounds, who's a Glasgow councillor who sits on the SPT board, and also Suze Riley, the animator, who was talking about her process. And we also at that event did a stall for Doors Open Day and launched our fantastic new merch, which I'm modelling here. For people who don't know, this is the 1979 promotional material for the Transclyde integrated public transport network that was destroyed by bus deregulation. But we've also got obviously really cool t-shirts, and we've got spare ones over there if you would like. £10 donation, and it's yours. Enough of the hard sell. I'm going to show you the animation. I'm sure many of you will have already seen it. It's only 2.5 minutes, but it really explains a lot of the issues that we're grappling with this legislation.
Where is this bus?
We'll be lucky if it turns up at all.
Why is it always like this in Glasgow?
I know, it feels like we're always being left behind.
I was just in Manchester visiting my brother, and I couldn't believe how good the buses are. They have this new B network, where you can take as many buses as you like within an hour for just £2. And it's so easy to hop on the tram, or a train, or even hire a bike now too, all with the same ticket. And here we are, not knowing if a bus will even show up.
Yeah, I heard it's improved down there because they've taken the buses back into public control, rather than private bus companies being in charge. Now everybody can see how good it is in Manchester. Loads of places in England and the whole of Wales are doing it too.
I saw something about us getting publicly controlled buses in Strathclyde years ago. What happened to that?
The Scottish Government's created laws that make it really complicated. Our local transport authority, SPT, has an uphill battle ahead of them. They face loads of obstacles that just don't exist in England and Wales. And the Scottish Government has hardly given them any funding to help. And once they get to the end, SPT don't even have the power to decide for themselves whether to go ahead. The Scottish Government's going to make them face a so-called independent panel of experts who could just stop it happening altogether.
That's ridiculous. What can we do to speed things up? I am so fed up of waiting.
We need to get the Scottish Government to make the laws simpler and to support SPT and other local transport authorities to help make it happen. There's an election coming up, so now is our chance to tell them what we need.
Yeah, we need a public transport system that actually works for the people who live here. One that's affordable, reliable, and takes you where you need to go. We just can't wait any longer for better buses.
A bit of a labour of love. I mean, obviously Suze did all the work, but we did commission her. But Susie wrote the script, and there was a huge amount of backwards and forwards. So we launched that alongside this e-action, which is on our new updated website that Neil at the back designed for us. If you haven't already sent an email to your MSPs, please do. It's very simple with this little action. And in the email that's generated, it's got our 3 kind of manifesto demands. So one is publishing the franchising guidance, because even though the Transport Act was passed in 2019, which is now more than 6 years ago, the guidance that SPT need to be able to do it hasn't properly been published. We got a draft of it in December, but we're still waiting for the final version. So that's pretty outrageous that we had to wait 6 years for that. We want the legislation simplified. We're actually going to be drafting an amendment bill that the new government can just take and hopefully implement. And we need funding as well. In June last year, Rachel Reeves announced between £1 to £2.5 billion per city region in England for public transport improvements, including bus franchising, but also building tram networks and loads of other stuff. We've had nothing equivalent to that in Scotland, so obviously that needs to change, because SPT are going to need a massive step change in funding to deliver franchising, but also deliver Clyde Metro and lots of other improvements that we need across the network. We also got the beautiful new leaflets design that Suze did in the same style as the animation. As Susie said, we brought 2,500 of them tonight, and we need everybody to take a small wad away and just distribute it around your local area, or put them all in a cafe, like down the end of your street, somewhere where they'll get out there. Because these are our election campaign leaflets, we need to get them all out before the election in May. And I think, I just got a couple more slides before I hand back to Paul. Once this campaign was up and running, we were back out trying to promote it as much as possible. So this is at the Scotland Demands Better March in Edinburgh on the 25th of October, and at Scotland's Climate March in Glasgow on the 15th of November. And then, I'm now going to pass back to Paul, who's going to give you a little brief intro to the tourist tax campaign we've been working on with Living Rent.
Hi everyone, I'm back. Nothing I've not done on it. So yes, we launched a campaign with Live and Rent, 3 of the Glasgow branches of Live and Rent. In September, this was quite a good tonic actually. This was the day after the petition was closed at Parliament, so this was quite a good remedy and brought us back up to speed with, because there's a proposed tourist tax for Glasgow that, if you're not aware, they're implementing it in Edinburgh as well, where there will be a small percentage added on to hotel bills for people visiting Glasgow, and that will go to the council. And the campaign that we're running with Live and Rent is to get the council to use some of that, to give that money to SPT to refranchise the buses, or to sort of expand the proposal of franchising a little bit further. And as part of this campaign, Stella, the chair of Glasgow Live and Rent, and myself were on a podcast called Nest of Fairies, which is done by Scotia Media. This is a brilliant podcast. If you've not heard of it, it's on Spotify, or it's on Patreon. I'm the top, my Spotify wrap this year was top 0.01% of listeners on it, because I listen to every episode like 2 or 3 times. So not the one that I was on. I've not listened to that. But yes, definitely check that one out. That's really good. And we kind of, franchising is a way of making the buses more affordable in Glasgow. And this is really what we discuss. We discuss how Glasgow is becoming less and less affordable, and transport is a big cost for households. And as part of the visitor levy, they're going to set up a visitor levy forum, which has got 2 trade union reps on it, but it's also got 2 community reps on it. And one of those community reps will be from a community council. And so we already were signing up as many community councils as possible to be supporters of the Better Buses for Strathclyde campaign, but that's something that we're going to be ramping up even more this year, so that we can get more support for that aspect of our campaign. And on the screen here we've got some supporters of Better Buses for Strathclyde. You might not be able to see it, but we've got Dundasville, Central Maryhill and Summerston, and Woodside. So if you are in an area get in touch with your local community council and ask them if they would support the campaign. Some of you might be community councillors. That would be great if you would bring a motion or get in touch. We can come in and talk to you about the campaign. Back to you.
We didn't realise we were going to have to swap this little thingy over. Okay, so we're on to the final bit now. I'm not going to run over too much, which was the big launch of the Clyde Metro map and video. So this was in collaboration with Abraham Dine of Metro Map Design, who's actually based in London but has been up to visit Glasgow and is a transport enthusiast and a brilliant graphic designer and filmmaker, and he wanted to collaborate with us. And we began talking to him in September, and as I said, Jack was really involved in the project and had several meetings with Abraham, sharing his encyclopedic knowledge of Glasgow's rail network and naming all of the different stations on this, new stations, tram station stops as well, on this new map. So Abraham came up in November, and we, I think over 4 days, filmed a little video to help launch the map, which was a lot of fun, and it stars Abraham, and you may recognise many of the committee members and keen supporters of the campaign in the video. It's only 1.5 minutes. I'm going to just play this now.
Glasgow has the largest suburban rail network in the UK outside of London, but here's the thing. Our fragmented and deregulated public transport network is leaving us far behind other major European cities.
SBT are drawing up exciting new plans to transform our existing railways into a truly integrated public transport network called Clyde Metro.
That means one simple ticket system, seamless integration between transport modes and new connections across the city.
With a fully integrated Clyde network, you'll be able to get from the city centre to Renfrew, from Postle to Paisley and from Nits Hill to York Hill.
We want to see the restoration of long-lost transport links reconnecting communities and giving the city back to the people who live here.
With clear line names and colours and intuitive timetabling that allows the trains, the subway and the new trams to combine effortlessly with the bus network, getting around Glasgow will be so much simpler.
Bringing the bus network back under public control is the first step towards an integrated Clyde Metro that's fit for the future.
Without this vital step, no amount of new tram or train lines will bring our network into the 21st century.
But all of this is only possible with public control of our entire transport network, and SPT are already working to make this happen.
We believe SPT can deliver this and give us a public transport network that we can be proud of. It's time to get on board.
So we were blown away with the response to this video. It's been a really good marketing campaign for Get Glasgow Moving more than anything. So we launched it on all of our social media channels, but on Instagram it really took off. It's been viewed more than 340,000 times and has had more than 13,000 likes, I think. And it has also, as a result of being circulated so much, our Instagram following was around 2,000 before that, and it doubled. It's now over 4,000. And lots of lovely new members as a result of this. It also has had 128,000 views on Facebook as well, so it's really got out there and created awareness for what SPT is doing with Clyde Metro, but also for our campaign, which is great. Earlier this month, we launched a Gaelic version of the map. Have you seen this map? Oh, Gaelic speaker. Is Kima here? Oh, hello. Translated every single station for us, and we haven't met before, but thank you so much for all your hard work on that. So the Gaelic version and the English version are both available to download from our website, or you can order a print version directly from Abraham. Just got a couple of slides from the beginning of this year, because straight after Christmas we were back on campaigning at the Parliament on the 7th of January. We did this really early in the year because we wanted to do it before the budget, and specifically asking MSPs to get money in this year's budget to support SPT to do the initial work to develop the franchising framework. SPT has said they need between 6 and 6.5 million to do that over the next few years. We were really delighted that a week later, we didn't quite get 6 million, but 4 million was put in the budget for this exact purpose. We don't know yet whether that's all going to go to SPT, who are the only transport authority in Scotland currently looking at bus franchising. We're obviously lobbying hard for that to happen. And yeah, so we've still got a lot more work to do on that. So that's the end of 2025. I'm just going to finish with a few dates for your diaries. There aren't a huge amount, but the most important thing is this event we're doing next week. If you want to hear more about the detail, what bus franchising involves, and also other campaigns other bus campaigns that are running across Scotland, please come to this online meeting that we're doing next Wednesday at 6:30. You'll find details of that on our website. After that, really, we're ramping up with the election campaign. We're planning between 1 and 3 public meetings with Living Rent. I don't know if the Living Rent people who are here have got details of that, but we've been told it will be late March in the different neighbourhoods where those branches are based. I think it's Partick and the south side? Shorelands. And then we are going to be in April and May out on the streets, lots of action days and leafleting, trying to get the leaflets out as much as possible. From the 26th of March onwards, all the current MSPs sort of stand down and we get all the candidates lists announced, so they will become our target after the 26th of March. And we are planning a national hustings in Glasgow. We've penciled in the 22nd or 23rd of April for that. We're looking for a venue at the moment. If you've got a great idea for a venue, you can also suggest to us later. And we'll be back on the May Day March and Rally on the 3rd of May, which is the Sunday before the election. So how can you help? If you haven't emailed, who has emailed their MSPs? So that's a small number. There's quite a few who need to follow the instructions on that leaflet, and please do that. The more emails they get, the better. If you haven't signed your petition, as I said, we've got nearly 13,000 signatures. Please sign that. We need to get over 13,000 by the end of tonight. Take the leaflets to distribute in your local area. As Paul said, if you're part of a community council or people on your local community council, please get them to publicly support Better Buses for Strathclyde and look out for our events in the run-up to May's election. Right, because we have run over by 10 minutes actually, I could just pass straight over to the Treasurer and then we could do questions directly at the end. Should we do that? We're going to move over to the Treasurer's report, which Susan will take you through.
Just to keep up with time. So we started 2025 with a balance of £15,601 and our total income last year was just over £7,688 and our total expenditure was £11,720 and that left us with a very healthy balance at the end of last year of £11,569. So our main source of income is membership fees. Last year that was £6,400 altogether, which is up along with our membership on 2024. Nearly £5,500 of that we received through Go Cardless, which is the platform that we use for membership income to process income collected through the website. And the majority of membership income is direct debits paid through that. We also had a smaller amount of membership income through staff and about nearly £6,448 on leaflets and posters. So besides campaigning costs, we spent more on kind of routine organisational costs as well. So the fees to Go Cardless for the processing the membership income, we spent over £200 on travel expenses. The officers did a lot of travelling to and from Parliament, around Strathclyde to public meetings and other events. We've spent £800 on essential maintenance of the website and on promoting the petition on social media. We took out a 12-month subscription to Nation Builder so that we could run the e-action, the petition ourselves, and that has proved to be very worthwhile so far. And we gave a donation of £100 to the Rise Up network. That's the activist collective that provided our mailing list software for free and have done since the campaign was started. So that was all our expenditure. But finally, as I say every year, the majority of the work that we do costs time rather than money. And that's hours and hours of unpaid work, time and skills that's donated by committee members and supporters. And that's been probably even more so this past year with the amount of work that was spent on the animation and the video and the map. So I'm just going to hand over quickly to Susie to talk about membership and then we can deal with any questions that you have about the accounts and the reports of work.
Thank you, Susan. I know it's a huge amount of work doing all the accounts, so we really appreciate all of that. So, there we go. So, as Ellie mentioned, I originally joined or was originally elected as a membership officer before I had to step into the secretary role when Katie wasn't able to carry on with it anymore. So I've been seeing all the emails coming in when people sign up to get Glasgow Moving, and it's been great to see the number of people that have signed up over the past year. So it's very gratifying to see, as we put in lots of work doing our various different activities, that we always seem to see a little bump in membership. So after we started our Strathclyde World Tour during the SPT consultation period, the membership sort of steadily grew, and that was quite pleasing. And then as things were happening around the final SRBS, it kept going. And then, as you can see, when the Clyde Metro video went live on Instagram, it's gone absolutely wild. So yeah, it's been really nice to see the response to that, and it's been really pleasing to see so many people excited about the idea of an integrated public transport network for Glasgow and the surrounding region. So hopefully we can keep up the pressure with our increased membership, and people will be enthusiastic to get involved and come out and support us over the coming year. So I just want to thank everybody that signed up in the past year, and for people who have been members for longer, who continue to support the work that we do. We wouldn't be able to do it without our members, so yeah, we're really pleased to have seen such an increase in 2025, and also so much continued support over the years. So thank you to the members.
We're running 5 minutes over, but as I appreciate, it's a huge amount of information. Does anybody have any questions that are just clarifying questions? If it's any big comments, then we'll save those for the discussion at the end. Shall we move on? Okay, fab. Is the motions and amendments to the Constitution. We did put a call out to see if any members wanted to put forward a motion, and we didn't receive any, but we do have some amendments to the minor amendments to the Constitution, which the committee is proposing to the members this evening. Now, these were all circulated as a PDF via email last Wednesday, and also recirculated this afternoon. So hopefully people have had a little chance to look over what we're proposing. They were all marked with like track changes in that document. But I'm going, for those of you who haven't, I'm going to quickly go over them now. 3 different sections of the Constitution. So the first is a very minor and I think pretty uncontroversial amendment to our objectives. So when the objectives were drafted in I'm looking, have I got the notes for this section? Oh, no, actually, I have got them. When the objectives were drafted in 2019, we specifically showed support for what was then known as Glasgow Metro, which was first kind of proposed in this Connectivity Commission report in 2019. It wasn't renamed Clyde Metro until 2022, when it was adopted by the Scottish Government in the Strategic Transport Projects Review 2. It's now called Clyde Metro, so we're simply proposing to change that from Glasgow Metro to Clyde Metro. The second amendment was proposed by Jack, and this is to section, I'm looking it down here and I can't, section 5 of the Constitution, which is about the Management Committee. And this amendment is a way of creating more interaction and transparency between the committee members, who are drawn from the membership, and the wider membership, by adding in an explicit commitment from the committee to make our minutes available on request. Just to be clear, we would always make our minutes available on request from a member anyway, but we're putting this in there to encourage more people to ask if they're interested. We'll initially just do that by email if people want to request minutes, but if there's a lot of requests, we may start publishing them regularly on our online forum or in our new members WhatsApp chat, which I will be telling you how to join at the end. And the final amendment is to section 6, which is the finance section. The main aim of this is really just to update the language in the Constitution, because it still said sign cheques, which even in 2019 is probably a little bit outdated. So we want to change the word sign cheques to make payments. And the Constitution had previously stated exactly 3 members of the committee who could have access to the bank account. Because this year is the first year we've brought in additional office bearers, which we're allowed to do under the Constitution. There's 3 that are named in the Constitution: Chair, Treasurer and Secretary. We also have Paul, who's the campaigns officer, so there's 4 of us. So we're just changing the wording so that if you're an office bearer, you can have access to the bank account. And those are the 3 amendments. So I am going to take questions on those now. So I appreciate that is a lot of information if you hadn't had a chance to look over them in advance. And then in order to make amendments to our Constitution, we need to have a majority of 2/3 of voting members at an annual general meeting or general meeting of Get Glasgow Moving in order to do that. So we need to do a vote. But before we do a vote, does anybody have any questions? Specifically about amendments, but I appreciate we haven't had a chance for any other questions yet.
I've got a question, but it's not about the Constitution, and I didn't get it quickly enough earlier on.
Is it a quick question?
It's a very quick comment. £4 million that Scottish Government have put into transport and improving transport. Don't spoil the party, but I'm involved in the campaign to save Ardrossan Harbour. And certainly we were hoping and expecting down there that money had been increased in order to start upgrading Ardrossan Harbour so Arran can get a proper ferry service again.
Thank you very much for that comment. And Brenda, who's on our committee, is also very passionate about that campaign. So join Brenda's group during the group discussion. Do we have any questions about the amendments to the Constitution or anything else that people want clarifying rather than comments? Shall we proceed to our vote? So just to recap, we are voting on 3 minor amendments to those 3 different sections. One for the objectives to change the name to Clyde Metro rather than Glasgow Metro. The other to make an explicit commitment to make our committee meeting minutes available, and the other one to update the language in the finance section around making payments. So could we have a show of hands? Susie's going to help with counting. For those in favour of these amendments that the committee are proposing to the Get Glasgow Moving Constitution. I think it looks unanimous. Thank you very much, everybody. Very pleased to pass those. So we can move on to the next item, which Paul is going to take you through, which is the approval of the committee members for this year.
Yes, so I'm going to move to the approval of the committee members. So for this one, we only need a simple majority. So the Constitution allows for 14 committee members in total. Ellie's already mentioned we had some retired members this year, and Nadine and Andrew are here, and thank you for everything that you've done. Katie unfortunately couldn't be here because she's in a performance of the importance of being earnest. And it's opening night. But we've got 8 returning members from the committee, and you've heard from myself, Ellie, Susie and Susan. We've got Geraldine over there, David standing up. Brendan's here, I know, where did you go? Yes, and we've got 5 new members. So do we have time to hear from the new members? Yes, okay, so I'm just going to ask the new members to, to just say a couple of sentences about themselves. So I can see Ailey, so I'm going to come to you first.
Hi, I'm Ailey. I've been involved in the campaign and a member since I think August or September this year, so I've been involved in the video, which I'm very painfully had to sit through there, and I'm a student and I was doing research on transport, so I was really interested in the campaign and want to get more involved, so that's why I'm putting myself forward for the committee.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Meghana. I've been involved with Get Glasgow Moving for about a year now, but I've been interested in getting more involved, so I decided to put myself forward for the committee, and yeah, looking forward to that.
Is Abigail here? This is going to be quite easy then. I'm going to come to you first.
Thank you. Hi everyone, I joined Get Glasgow Moving, I think it was last summer, and I was involved in the Under 22 bus transport consultation, so that was pretty good. Just really keen to get work done and just happy to be involved.
Hi, I'm Abigail. I'm just a student here at Uni of Glasgow, do city planning. I've been a member of Get Glasgow Moving, but not been properly involved, so just happy to join.
Jenny sent her apologies, unfortunately we weren't able to attend this evening, so I'm just going to move to a vote now. Like I said, we just need a simple majority. And yes, so all in favour of the new committee for 2026? Great, I think that looks unanimous as well. Okay, thank you.
My hearing is not very good, so bear this thing. But this is a point of order. Any other association I've been involved with, at the AGM, members are elected, right? And here we're not elected anyone, we're not opposed to anyone whatsoever, but should we in fact not be proposing and electing members,
so
whether
because,
they're new members or not?
Because we have...
I haven't got a copy of the Constitution, so I can't.
So we only need to do an election if we have more proposed members on the committee than the Constitution allows, and the Constitution allows for 14 members and we have 13.
I'm sorry, I just didn't hear any of that. I couldn't hear it. It's just a point. So, I'm curious about it.
Yeah, so the Constitution allows for...
Sorry?
The Constitution allows for 14 members, and we have 13 people proposing to be on the committee, so we don't need to host an election for that. So, does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Thank you. And yeah, this is for the committee members to get a date in the diary for the next committee meeting.
This section I was just going to run over the ways in which we communicate with you, especially for new members, and we have a new channel that we're launching at this AGM. So if you haven't taken the plunge and become a member, which I think most people in this room have, but you have supported the campaign by signing a petition or something like that, then we kind of classify you as a supporter. And you can get information from us through all of our social media channels, and we also have a newsletter, big mailing list that we host with Rise Up that Susan mentioned. We nearly have 10,000 email addresses on that, which we've built up over the last 10 years. But for members also should receive that newsletter. We do commit to not sending more than 6 a year so that we're not spamming people. Members receive more regular updates, so we have a separate smaller email list for members, which is a Google group. For those of you who know, it's just a way of organising multiple emails into a list. And I'm assuming that everybody here is receiving emails through that Google group from us. That's how we have contacted you with the details of the AGM, and also the attachments with the amendments to the Constitution and everything else. If you have not received that in your inbox, then please come and speak to one of us at the end, because we will need to take your email address down to make sure you're getting those important member updates. As a member, you can also optionally join our online members forum, which is on Facebook. I know not everybody uses Facebook. That currently has 103 members. We launched that in 2023. That was Andrew's initiative. And it's still reasonably active. It's a useful place to share articles that you might come across, any research that you think would be useful for the committee, anything you want to vent. It's a private forum. You can really use it as you like. Just for members. And also today we are launching a new members chat on WhatsApp. We've had our WhatsApp community since 2023 as well, but it was just a kind of one-way announcement channel. We thought that it would be, as part of our member engagement, really useful just to have a members chat, which I guess isn't for everybody either, but it's optional if you would like to have a place where you can reach the committee. All committee members are currently members of that chat. Then I'm going to show you a QR code, but Ailey also has some QR codes. I've just got a couple of little screenshots of the members forum on Facebook. You'll find this if you go to our Facebook page and then just click on groups. You'll find a link to this, and you can request to join, and we will approve your membership once we cross-check it with our membership list. And this is a little shot from our WhatsApp announcement group, where we send out kind of one-way announcements. And the new members chat, which was created last week, I think currently has about 10 members. If you'd like to join, there's a QR code on the screen right now. There's also another version of it on the desk here. You can scan. There's one over there, and Ailey's passing them around as well. So it's completely optional, but if you would like to kind of have a way of easily contacting committee members and sharing things that you come across or ideas, then it's there for you. Right. I think we're going to move on to the discussion, because there's a lot to say, isn't there? I think. So we're gonna split into small groups, and each group will have a committee member in. So there should just be groups of around kind of 5 people, maybe. It shouldn't be huge groups. I don't know quite how we're going to do this, but committee members will all stand up right now and grab their pens and papers, because we're going to be taking notes during the discussion. We're going to have, well, we got 15 minutes actually for the discussion.
So what I did was I basically took a look. So
we're just getting started.
Individual bit, but it's just my best guess and trying to.